Joining me now is Elie Mystal, justice correspondent for The Nation. He's also author of the book, Allow Me to Retort, A Black Guy's Guide to the Constitution. Elie, thanks so much for coming on the show. Let's start with Ginny and Clarence. Since Ginny Thomas met with the January 6th committee last Thursday, members on that committee have been playing down her interview and saying, essentially, yeah, she has fringe, crazy beliefs, but her role in the coup, in the insurrection, was minimal. Isn't any role that she had important, considering that she's the wife of a sitting Supreme Court justice? Are Democrats unilaterally disarming when it comes to Ginny and Clarence Thomas?
Yeah, the idea that she's only a little bit of an insurrectionist really doesn't hold a lot of water with me. But the big issue here, Mehdi, is that what we need is whole-scale Supreme Court reform, and we can start with ethics reform. The Supreme Court is the only court in America that operates without a statutory ethical guideline. Literally, if you go to traffic court in Peoria, that judge is under more ethical strictures than the Supreme Court justices are. And that is a simple bill that can be passed by Congress, passed by the Senate, if we had senators willing to do that, and signed by the president, that would constrain the Supreme Court, at least on some of these big issue items. For instance, should you recuse yourself from cases where your wife is a potential defendant? Like, that seems simple enough to me, and it could be simple enough for the country if we would just pass such bills. Now, some of this is just, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I want to come back to Supreme Court reform. It's a very good point you make, although why would you need an ethics code for a group of judges that includes such moral men like Brett Kavanaugh? I don't know why we would need such a thing. Let's talk about the documents case itself specifically. Justice Clarence Thomas has given the DOJ till next Tuesday to respond to Donald Trump's narrow appeal. In this appeal, Trump is asking that the 100 or so classified documents that the 11th Circuit took out of the special master's review be put back in. It seems like a small thing, so why make this appeal? Do you think it'll be successful? What's Donald Trump trying to do here?
I have no idea, quite frankly. I think that part of what's happening is that Trump doesn't actually know what he stole. And so, like, he wants to get him back to exactly see just how big of trouble he's in. It's relatively baseless and relatively pointless because they already said that the DOJ could continue using those documents in their investigation against him. So I don't know what the play here is exactly. It feels to me like this is one of the times where the client just wanted to appeal, wanted to have that out there, that he was appealing, that he was fighting.
And the lawyer's doing it.
And the lawyers are doing it, right? Because what appealing does is give him a way to go on radio, to go on TV, to go talk to stupid people who don't actually understand what's at stake here and say, like, I'm fighting, I'm appealing, I'm whatevering. And it, again, gets him, as you pointed out, gets him another opportunity to get in front of a friendly Supreme Court.
To be fair to Trump, it's worked. I mean, we were talking all about classified documents in August. Now we're talking about random, narrow legal appeals for a made-up legal strategy that no one thinks had any weight when he started it. And he got to get where he is today because he went judge shopping. Eileen Cannon, Judge Cannon's rulings have been particularly egregious, brazenly pro-Trump. Are you surprised to see that she's not even trying to hide her bias?
I'm not, because I'm not surprised about Trump judges. And so I have two things. One, what have we learned, America? Like, what have we learned? Because when this judge was picked, shopped, as you put out, as you said, when she came out with her initial terrible decision, there were still people defending her as a normal public servant, saying that it was wrong to call her a Trump judge, even after the initial decision, saying that it was wrong to point out the corruption and bias in that initial opinion. Every step she's taken since then has deepened her level of corruption and complicity to the Trump regime. And I'm just wondering if people in mainstream media have learned anything about these Trump judges that they can apply again in the future, or are we going to be back to square one the next time with people trying to gaslight us about what Trump judges are really about? That's number one. Number two question, what have we learned? Eileen Cannon, as you pointed out, was confirmed after Trump had already lost the election. She was confirmed with 56 votes. Democrats, people like Dianne Feinstein, people like Chris Coons, crossed party lines to confirm Eileen Cannon after Trump had already lost the election. What have we learned, Democrats? Yeah. What have we learned, Dianne Feinstein? What have we learned about giving an imprimatur of legitimacy to these Trump plants, these Trump landmines that he's left behind to take democracy away from the rest of us. So I
still think of all this. I still think of all those Senate Democrats who voted for Bill Barr and Mike Pompeo and confirmed them to the cabinet, thinking it would be a great bipartisan move. Let's come back to Supreme Court reform, as you mentioned. I'm a big pusher of court expansion and rebalancing on this show, as you know, and I know you are as well. Liberals have been very excited by new Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson's performance this week, especially yesterday's oral arguments in Merrill versus Milligan, the Alabama case that will have enormous impact on what's left of the Voting Rights Act. Have a listen to some of what she had to say.
I don't think we can assume that just because race is taken into account that necessarily creates an equal protection problem, because I understood that we looked at the history and traditions of the Constitution, at what the framers and the founders thought about. And when I drilled down to that level of analysis, it became clear to me that the framers themselves adopted the Equal Protection Clause, the 14th Amendment, the 15th Amendment in a race-conscious way.
Look, Ellie, it's undeniably a very good response. It's a brilliant, take on of GOP originalism nonsense. And liberals are getting excited about it on Twitter, and I get that. But does any of that matter when at the end of the day we know conservatives on the court will just keep voting against her 6-3 or even 5-4?
I love her. I love that answer. It takes a conservative talking point, turns it right on its head, and throws it right back in its face. But no, it's not going to matter. This isn't a fairy tale. She's going to lose. She's going to lose. She's going to keep losing. Kagan's going to lose. Sotomayor's going to lose. All three of the liberal women were great yesterday. Yep. Doesn't matter. They're going to lose 6-3 because Republicans are no longer bounded by logic. They're no longer bounded by the hypocrisy of their own arguments. We see that on the court. We see that in politics, right? We see that with the Herschel Walker, with people rallying around Herschel Walker now, because what they want is power. They don't care about the morality of the argument. They don't care about the logic of their argument. They want power. And right now on the Supreme Court, they have power. They're going to use power to make sure they never lose power again. And that is why they are going to continue gutting the Voting Rights Act. I do think it's up in the air in terms of exactly how they gut the Voting Rights Act, and one way is better than another way. But Ketanji Brown Jackson, Kagan, and Sotomayor, they're going to lose 6-3 on all of these critical issues about our democracy.
As you say, it's about power. It's about them maintaining power by any means necessary. Meanwhile, Democrats like the Dianne Feinsteins and Chris Coons of this world will say, we mustn't do anything to impede the Supreme Court or damage its legitimacy. We will have to leave it there on that depressing but important point. Elie Mystal, thank you for your analysis as ever.